Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, including Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, and Rick and Morty. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Sam Quattro.
Hello.
Today, Sam and I are going to be discussing our big Steven Universe theory, the alternate Earth theory.
God, it's so big, guys.
It's so big. There's so many Steven Universe theories out there because the mythology of the show is like complex yet very vague right now. So it's really interesting to get into it. And we're in this like kind of hiatus period before we get back to the show in September. So we're gonna take
like an exact date.
I don't think we have a date yet. No, we're gonna take a period to take a podcast to talk about our big theory that we discussed in one day a few months ago. I think it's pretty cool.
It was June 9th,
Yeah, I took out the chat archives. Yeah, and but before that,
at
we're
8
gonna.
PM.
Yes, there you go. You know the exact time of that, and but before that, we're gonna be talking about the latest episode titles released for season 2 of Steven Universe, which is like all of them for season 2. I mean,
It's like all of them.
It's like all of them. But before we get into that, overlyanimated.com is where you can get all the information about this podcast. We're going to be talking about every episode of Steven Universe that's in September and forever, so you can listen to us for all your Steven Universe coverage. Let's get into these episode titles, though. CartoonNetwork.com, for some reason, just lists all the episodes for the rest of Season 2, which is they actually give us every single episode title, except there are 2 TBAs if you look on their website. They don't show those on Wikipedia, but if you count them up, all the titles they've given us, along with all the episodes that have aired, equals 50. So this is probably every single episode for Season 2.
That's cool.
That's kind of cool, I guess. It's weird that they just put them on their website. Our next episode is Nightmare Hospital, and I guess a few weeks from now. And we have a description for that in a few of these. Steven and Connie must retrieve Rose's sword from a hospital.
What's it doing in a hospital?
I don't know, but
Did somebody stab somebody with it?
That would make sense, actually, yeah. Although, do you think they'd, like, take it out
Wouldn't
before?
it be in, like, police custody?
Yeah, as evidence, yeah.
Like, what's going on?
This is, like... I'm really looking forward to this episode. But
Yeah,
anything involving Rose's sword.
And
Steven and Connie. That's prime great episode material. Also seems like it's plotty, or at least has a plot element to it, with Rose's sword in there. I don't know. Also, just Nightmare Hospital. That kind of setting a really cool tone for the episode.
It's like the game Theme Hospital.
I have not heard of that.
It's a game.
Okay.
You're a hospital. It's hospital management.
Interesting. I don't think we'll be managing hospitals in Nightmare Hospital, but
well,
I am looking forward to that one. That's our next one too, so that's very exciting. We got Catch and Release, Explore Steven's Bathroom. I don't know what to make of that one.
Okay, is it like how we went into Onion's house?
Yeah, that's what that reminds me of. When It Rains, a friend of Steven is afraid of thunderstorms and he tries to help them.
What friend?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
A new friend?
A new friend, another... is this the 21st person in Beach City?
I don't know. With this hospital, we might have more than 20
Yeah, since when is there a hospital in Beach City?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Like, since when can they afford... They're like a village. They're not really a city.
They're not a city, yeah.
Well, they are, but, like, they aren't.
Yeah.
It's like a city after the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. Well, we can get into what's going on there in our alternate Earth
Yes,
theory.
we will.
Yeah. Back to the barn. Steven and the Gems build robots in a barn.
Is it the same barn that they did in, like, what was the one when, like, Pearl tried to go into space?
Yeah, there's a barn, that's true. When the Space Pearl episode, yeah. Maybe. That one sounds interesting, building robots. Then we have Sadie's song, no...
Oh, that can also factor into our theory.
The barn?
The robots.
The robots. Interesting. But those are our next ones in order, and then we just have a bunch of titles. We have a few more with descriptions. We've talked before on the podcast about Super Watermelon Island. Steven finds the watermelon he created.
Kiki's Pizza Service Delivery.
That's not one of these ones I'm talking about, but yeah, that's all
Yeah,
wild.
but that's one further down on the list.
Gem Drill, Steven travels underground, barn mates, Steven aids a pair of friends in getting along at a barn. So a lot of these don't sound very plot heavy. So they don't inspire a ton of confidence.
I don't know what Sadie's song is about.
I don't know. That one's interesting. I mean, Sadie's great, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay.
So let's talk about the ones that don't have descriptions, from same old world to theoretically the finale of the season, last one out of Beach City.
Kiki's Pizza Service Delivery.
That is not the one I would have picked out of this group as notable.
It's Kiki's Delivery Service, but not.
Oh yeah, so
Oh.
is this an homage to Miyazaki's
Yes.
classic Kiki's Delivery Service?
Are you dumb? No,
That's mean.
you're not.
I mean,
You're-
Kiki has pizza place, and them having a delivery service, it makes sense.
Yeah, but it's a thing.
It's the reference to the to the movie.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if we will. I don't. Steven Universe isn't one to have like homage episodes, So I don't know.
Back to the Moon Part 3.
Okay, so there's this group of three episodes: Beta Part 1, Earthlings Part 2, and Back to the Moon Part 3. It's what's really interesting about this naming schema is that you would think that this is like a 3-part series, but it's not like they don't have the same title. Usually it goes Thing Part 1, Thing Part 2, Thing Part 3, but they have different things on each one for the names before the Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. That's really interesting. I've never seen that before.
I think I have, but
Back to the Moon Part 3. Earthlings. Seems like these are... I would call this like the mid-season finale, but it seems like this is late in the season, so I'm not sure.
Steven versus Amethyst.
Yeah, Steven versus Amethyst. Where's that
Gem
one?
Harvest.
Gem Harvest, yeah.
Tiger Philanthropist.
So the last after Beta, Earthlings, and Back to the Moon, we have Bubbled, the Kindergarten Kid, Gem Harvest, Know Your Fusion, Tiger Philanthropist, and last one out of Beach City. All of those seem...
Oh, was Know Your Fusion going to be like a quiz show?
No, I mean, I assume that's...
Like the game show episode?
I don't think so.
I think so. Like, you know how they did that in Hey Arnold?
It's the third from the last in the season. I mean, I guess season 1 had one of the last ones was the Mayor Dewey one, right?
Well, what about Tiger Philanthropist? Tiger Millionaire was...
Yeah, that brings about memories of Tiger Millionaire, but you assume that's a 2-part finale? I'm not sure. Maybe not.
I disagree with you.
That what?
That Tiger Philanthropist isn't going to be a part of the... never mind.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it'd be
disagree.
part of the finale. But I mean, are they just gonna have a 1-part finale? Interesting.
Maybe it's just going to be a special half hour.
That would be that would be unprecedented for them, but maybe.
They can... That's their life. They can do what they want.
They can do what they want. I would.
Or
hope so.
Cartoon Network.
Well, yeah, they would have to get approval from Cartoon Network. I mean, there's just a ton of interesting ones here.
Greg the Babysitter. Monster Reunion.
I think we're gonna have to go through some fillers to get to this to get some plot advancement.
Drop Beat Dad.
Although, yeah, I don't know.
Is Greg going to get into dubstep?
Yeah, that's the conclusion there. For me, though, the highlight is the next episode seems really interesting. So looking forward to that in September.
I agree.
And then eventually we'll get to these really interesting ones, including that 3-part one with different naming schema. That's really interesting.
Earthlings.
Yeah, Earthlings. I don't know. None of these give away anything, which is good.
Do you think that, like, when aliens think about us, like, they think about everybody on our planet as Earthlings, including animals?
I've never thought about that before. Wow, you have the most interesting thoughts. I think yes, probably.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's, like, the best compliment I've ever received.
That is sort of an interesting line of thought. I think that's probably true, because when we think of aliens, we wouldn't think of just the most intelligent species on their planet as, like, the aliens, and then everything else is animals. We'd probably think of them all as aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. There you go. Okay. So, and I don't know, any other comments on these titles?
I like that one. Nope. I just read Friendship and thought it was a new episode.
I mean, a lot of these are similar. The New Lars. We have the Sadie song and the New Lars.
I wonder if Sadie's song is going to feature the other half of Garfunkel Notes.
Of Garfunkel Notes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's Sadie's voice actor is one of them.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, everybody listening. I don't have burst knowledge in them, but I know that the voice actress of Sadie is one of them.
Interesting. Okay, let's get into our big theory here. We're going to have a separate podcast on general smaller theories, but this is kind of me and Sam's.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, we're just
we'll
gonna
bring
all
in,
kill a bunch of birds with a stone here. But...
No, we're just going to talk about our big one here. Then we'll bring Delaney in at least for the general theories one. This is me and Sam's kind of overarching theory for Steven Universe mythology, though. So let's get into this. Hopefully, this isn't just me rambling for a while. So freely interject, Sam. and I'll come to you
Thanks.
for comments on all of this. So I have like bullet points here to try to advance the theory. So here's the thing. This theory is trying to explain something about the show's very basis. The show's basic design and narrative, things behind the show, the gems, basically themselves. There's fundamental aspects of the gems that we kind of take for granted, which just, if you start to think about it logically, is very weird, and they don't make a lot of sense, given things we kind of generally assume about the gems in the basis of our planet. So a lot of this is gonna maybe seem like overthinking, which is interesting. But at the same time,
Isn't that what all theories are? Just overthinking.
I mean, if we're giving a big theory for a show that just very slowly reveals things, yeah, it's going to seem like overthinking. But at the same time, I feel like this needs to be addressed, and there's a lot of in-depth mythology that this show has already established. But really, what we're trying to do is I'm trying to explain things about the very basics about the show's mythology without using the rule of cool. Now, Sam. Yes. Explain to us about the rule of cool. Sam, the trope master.
The rule of cool is basically a thing in media where people just do things because it's cool. For example, I need to think of an example. Hold on. I might actually have to pull up the TV show page.
I mean, like any mecha anime that doesn't explain how these really cool giant suits are fighting. Like it's just like, oh, it's engineers are making them and stuff. It doesn't have to make sense. They're really cool, An
example of really cool is I'm getting there.
I mean, this is
to the animation.
This is a trope on TV tropes, and a trope is a general commonality in narrative storytelling that the website TV Tropes chronicles.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender.
There you go. That's our core audience.
I don't know how this is real cool, but it lists Sokka's having a space sword as rule of cool. I don't think.
I mean that that episode tries to explain it. It shows the meteor coming down.
The giant drill.
The giant drill is rule of cool. Yeah, I would say that's true. It's like how does this drill work? It's seemingly more advanced than anything else in the show, but technology wise, but it's cool. So whatever. So. I don't like this as a narrative device. This is bad.
The act of taking Luke Skywalker's prop lightsaber and Gene Roddenberry's ashes up on the space shuttle. That's real cool.
Okay.
That's what TV tropes.
I'm not gonna get into that one, but it's okay. as a narrative device, this is not good. You want your things about your show to make sense. That being said, you can generally get away with this within the very basic aspects of a show's mythology because we take them for granted. Like bending in Avatar. For a while, it's not really clear how bending originates, how it even works within people. And even once they explain it, they change their story, and it's still not really even clear.
It's just basically like people accept things that are very unrealistic because it's cool.
Because it's cool, yeah. And when you present it as basic mythology, you accept it as fantasy, right? But then if you start to look into it, the logic behind the rule of cool thing doesn't hold up. So basically the gems themselves, like the gem species, it's their designs, everything about them. It's cool, but what is behind them? I mean, the show's obviously going to reveal stuff about their home planet and things like that. The narrative's obviously going in that direction, but to me, a big mystery, and it's probably maybe one you guys haven't thought of before, and it's one I hadn't really thought of. I think Sam brought up. It's why do the gems look like humans?
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest questions once you think of it.
I mean, if they existed for millennia before,
seemingly the gems have existed for millennia before humans, right? So why do their projections look humanoid? It doesn't make sense. And you could explain it with the rule of cool, and it's just a fundamental aspect of the show's mythology that we're trying to make it more relatable for us human viewers. But and a lot of sci-fi shows do this. They have humanoid looking aliens. Recently, Rick and Morty, one of the most recent episode had a humanoid alien species, and that was pretty atypical for that show. Usually their aliens look pretty weird. And I pointed out on that podcast with Delaney that didn't make much sense, and it doesn't really make sense here. So basically this big theory is trying to explain why gems look like humans, and you have to maneuver things around to make this work. And I'm not convinced that the show is going to address this. The fact that gems look like humans. Like, I think our theory is interesting, and it could be true, actually. And we'll get there. But, like, I'm not convinced that the show wants to or needs to address this. You know? Like, it is a part of the show's fundamental mythology, the humanoid gems. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think that they will address it. I think if you're just looking at face value, like you said earlier, just something that humans can relate to. I mean, we always try to make things in our image, and we always try to make things that relate to us. So making like an alien species look humanoid is a way of doing that.
Yeah. Briefly, some of you may be objecting at this point that the gems themselves are the things that we see are projections from the actual gem
Holograms
themselves.
with mass.
Who described it like that?
Pearl did in that little short thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they released a short, yeah, and Pearl said... Gem Classroom. Gems, what we see of gems are holograms with mass based off of their core gem themselves. And that their projection, they could just shape their projection however they want, like when they're generated, which is true. So that was kind of a question mark for a while until we saw... well, first, I think Lapis starts to contradict this because she kind of emerges as a human, like without having really seen humans, probably. But also at the recent Comic-Con panel, we get definitive evidence in that we see what Yellow Diamond looks like.
Yeah.
There's an extended opening. It's really cool. I'm still waiting for a non-Comic-Con recorded version of it.
Don't need all these people screaming.
Yeah,
at me.
I'm not a fan of the screaming in the Comic-Con videos, yeah. But we see a very brief glimpse of Yellow Diamond, and Yellow Diamond is also humanoid. And
she looks like an 80s businesswoman.
That's an interesting description, yeah. And it's so even someone who has... I mean, Yellow Diamond's probably seen humans before, but why would Yellow Diamond's common appearance, which that theoretically is, be humanoid? It's not really clear, right? It also seems like gems keep their projections on the homeworld, from what we can tell. That's another thing that Sam and I were talking about.
Peridot and...
Because Peridot and Yellow Diamond, and it's Jasper. Like, are the gem projections just the projections being what we see of them, are they just a thing to help them interact with humans? And maybe on the homeworld they're just little rocks walking around, right? But no, it seems like that's not what's happening. It seems like their projections are how they interact with each other, and yeah, okay, but we can get back to that. It is interesting. Like, you don't think of these types of things unless you really get into this core mythology. So this theory starts where when me talking with Sam, it starts with my kind of something I'm really convinced of that we're going to a reveal towards. And it's just something I've been convinced of since the season 1 finale, when Pearl said she was just we got another line that's the carbon copy of this recently in like the last episode. She says she's just a Pearl in that one. What about the most recent one? Or is that the most...
said that in the most recent
one? Well, okay, and then what'd she say in the finale?
Jasper said in the finale.
Yeah.
Lost defective Pearl.
You're a lost defective Pearl, right? So the second one is just confirming what it seems like from the first one, that Pearl is part of a series of gems of other pearls.
The Pearl line.
The Pearl line of gems, right? And that there's different types of gems, and that Pearl is just one of many pearls, and that the most recent episode makes it seem like the pearls are maybe kind of a servant class, or that they're a lower class gem. But really, if you think about this, how are there many pearls? How does this make sense? Like, is Pearl a race of gem? Because the assumption is that the gem species, the alien species gems, are an organic alien life form that has just evolved separately from humans for millennia, and exists organically, biologically, organically. But if like Pearl is one of many pearls, then
How come she cries?
well, okay, that's that's not really related to this, I don't think. But that is another interesting question. We can get into the holograms with mass thing. With yeah, how do they cry? But how is she just one of these many seemingly identical pearls? And what I always think of with this, and it's not definitive based off of those statements, but I always think that this shows that gems are harvested, which goes along with our perception of gems, right? Like that's kind of how gems work on our world. Like that. Here's the big thing, right? And here's this is kind of an aside. The fact that the gems have this naming schema that relates to our precious metals, gems, or whatever on Earth makes no sense
Rule of cool?
if they exist
No.
separately. So you want to explain that instantly with the rule of cool. That might be the best example of anything of rule of cool, right? Like
Yeah.
the gems are called these things we already know, but that doesn't make any sense if they're
Doesn't make
alien
sense if they
species.
existed before us.
If they existed before
And
humans.
Earth.
But you can see where we're going with this. The answer is going to be they didn't exist before humans is our answer, but we'll get there. So gems are harvested, and in fact, I further along with this, I believe that gems are not an organic species, that they are mechanically created and an inorganic species. So basically, they're more similar to robots than humans. They're artificial intelligences, they're machines, things like that.
Like the duplicates from Blade Runner.
I have not seen, so I cannot comment. But so, yeah, I should see that movie. So further going along with this, to try to explain it more, the gem itself, this to me makes total sense with the gem and the projection. The gem itself is the CPU, thinking about your computer. It's where everything happens. The actual person is that gem. And then the projection is the computer monitor.
That's
Right.
kind of irresponsible to leave your CPU like unguarded like that. Don't you think?
I guess since they can create projections with mass, they could like guard it better. I don't know. That's true.
I don't know. Jasper does have like that helmet.
Yeah. But so this CPU, this gem. So basically what I'm saying is that every gem, including, garnet, pearl, amethyst, the gem itself that they have, this is a computer and their existence is code. And this like kind of doesn't make sense when you look at it like that. But think of artificial intelligences. There have been tons of AI movies recently. I mean, I'm saying that like that Pearl is Scarlett Johansson and Her, basically. There you go.
Oh, cool. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I like that movie. So
it's a very good movie. So you accept. That type of thing. Really intelligent artificial intelligences to the point where they're not limited by their programming, that they're actual sentient beings, right? I'm not convinced that can happen in reality, but it's a common sci-fi trope. They are sentient beings. They have free thought. But they are still code. They're still a computer at their core.
what makes a man? Is it computer code? Is it blood?
Right, yeah. So ultimately, if technology advances far enough, it doesn't really matter if you have DNA or code as your basis. You can still be a sentient, conscious being. Not
Feelings make the human.
right. So if
Or the being.
artificial intelligences can achieve conscious feelings and thought and stuff like that, then
Hopefully, if they don't try to kill us.
you see that you're concerned about that. But as a general fear, my response is that I don't think there's any basis on our knowledge of technology that they can achieve sentience. But in theory, if you write a big enough computer program, then you can just replicate humanity. But it's just too big to contain on anything. So. Because what code is it's just instructions, and that's basically what our DNA is doing anyway. So these gems are not people; they're machines. Getting into this a little bit more before we get into the obvious question: who made the gems? The gems. You want to talk about fusion with this because fusion just seems so rule of cool, basically so absurd.
Maybe is the most rule of cool thing. in the
Fusion
whole
might actually be the most rule of cool thing ever, but we can explain it if they're CPUs. Two CPUs
explain.
can just share information together, and I don't know how they physically merge into one thing, but their projections merging into one thing is very easy. You just have one projection, and you just have... Well, no, both gems appear on the fusion,
No, they don't
right?
physically.
Yeah, they don't even...
Yeah.
This makes perfect sense. Both
There you
gems
go.
still are next to each other, and then you just have one projection. But the two gems next to each other are sharing information so much so that they lose their individuality to a certain extent and are one being. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, but the problem is, how the heck did Connie and Steven fuse? This one makes absolute. This one, I feel like Connie and Steven's fusion is the thing that makes the least sense on a show of things that makes no sense.
Connie might be part robot. That's
So, like, assuming
What I
Connie is a biological human, because you can, it's possible. Assuming Connie is a biological human, then the show is presenting it as it's Steven confused with humans because Steven's half human, but it just, to me, that doesn't work. Okay, how is Steven created? Okay, so
I don't know about that either.
let's talk about that quickly. Rose, so I think Ian Jones Quarterly made a post about this basically, but basically Rose shifted herself a womb. He says that exactly, yeah. So she basically gave herself reproductive organs to procreate with Greg. Makes sense. But you can do that if your body's just a projection and it's not actually you, and it can be manipulated.
Holograms with masks.
Holograms with mass, which... Okay, holograms with mass makes no sense. That just contradicts the word of hologram.
That just bothers me.
Hologram is light. I mean, does light have mass? I'm not sure.
I'm not a scientist.
I know computers, not science stuff, but it's
We
that...
might have to ask Brit.
Yeah, we have to get Brit on here. But hologram having mass, it doesn't make any sense. So this is not... It doesn't make much... It doesn't work for me. But maybe they can manipulate molecules in the air around them to make the hologram that have mass. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know how it works. But what was I getting into? Oh yeah, so Rose gives herself a womb and procreates. But then how is Steven made? So if Rose is not a biologically organic species, then she for sure cannot pass on DNA to her offspring. However, she could just make DNA for herself. If she's already making her projection, she could just make DNA in her projection.
Maybe, like, she just shape-shifted Steven to look half like Greg.
Well, so, I mean...
I'm not sure. It's very complicated.
So Steven's gem is Rose's gem.
Yes.
So, I'm saying that they're the same computer. They just... So, how
Same
does this...
computer, different...
It's like a different user logged into the computer, right? That actually kind of makes sense.
yeah, instead of, like, Rose logged into the computer, she logged out.
Yeah.
And, Steven is now logged in.
Yeah.
But then that, like, begs the question, can Steven just log out? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, well, I feel like...
Steven can't access any of Rose's files.
No, but I feel like the show has kind of hinted at that before, right? That maybe there's a way to get back to Rose. I don't know, but I'm trying to think about this more. So, like, Steven is a human, though. So Steven's not just a gem. So that the changing computer thing doesn't work. So Rose actually gave organic birth to, as far as we know, we just have to go based off of what we see. It's possible there could be a twist, like, since we've seen it from Steven's perspective, we don't know that he's actually a gem fully, or I don't know.
So confusing.
I feel like this show is capable of a giant twist like that because everything's so Steven-centric. Like, we already have the ability to get so much information, new information quickly, like in the season 1 finale.
Steven, you're actually a computer.
But I don't think that's a big. Oh, we'll get to our thing. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But like, so Steven is biologically human, but then has the CPU in him as well, and it can be biologically human because Rose gave herself DNA.
So he's like Inspector Gadget.
So it's like, so in this theory, it's possible you could separate Rose from Steven, I think, which contradicts what we know. Because if Steven's just a human with a computer inside him, maybe you can take the computer out. But it's possible the computer's replacing something biological, so you need the computer to stay there,
It's a conundrum.
It's a conundrum. But anyway, human and gem fusion breaks my CPU theory, though. It doesn't make sense. I don't know how it would make sense. But I don't think any theory really explains their their fusion. Although I'm sure there's some out there. I don't look at too many Steven Universe theories. Anyway, so let's get back to the big question: who made the gems if they're a mechanically created species?
Yeah.
Theoretically, you could say, oh, another super intelligent alien species. You just some others things we don't know about, but in the Steven Universe world, there's just humans and gems. And we can also answer our giant question here. Why are gems projections humanoid?
And also, why are they named after human?
And why are they
earthly
named after Earth minerals and precious gems, rocks? Yeah. The answer is that the gems are made by humans. There you go. That explains both of them.
Oh
that
my
explains
God.
both of these things.
Oh my God! What a twist!
What a twist. And I feel like this is a twist that could totally happen in the show. But that makes no sense, because how did the humans create such a technologically advanced computer that can regenerate and create a projection with mass? It doesn't work in the current Earth timeline. So the only option is that there's a separate Earth. That's the only option. There's two Earths. Okay, there's two Earths and two histories of humanity.
My mind is just blown.
Your mind is blown, but you're the one that actually came up with this.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain this part?
I feel like you could explain it more eloquently than I can.
And then you'll comment. Okay,
Yeah.
So, here's what happened in this very far-fetched theory. Original Earth, which is not the Earth we see in Steven Universe. We have original Earth. Humans are there like normal Earth, and they advance very far along past where we currently are in terms of technological progression and time. Humans have been on the planet, and they advance so far technologically, they create these gems. Each one is a CPU with a humanoid projection. They base these humanoid projections that they make off of themselves. They name them with the naming schema based off of gems and the Earth. And then that totally checks out. However, at some point, for some reason, the humans are forced to leave this original Earth and migrate to a different Earth.
I'm saying it was some sort of apocalypse.
So I wrote out a few possibilities here. Either there's like the end of the world. Either way, it's the end of the world. For whatever reason. There's either because the world just ended, which is going to happen at some point on our world, so it makes sense. Environmental, more likely sooner than later because of environmental reasons, so that would make sense. Or because there are species that they created rebelled against them and killed most people. So the gems could have killed off humans on the original Earth. That's possible. That's maybe more probable with this show because the show likes to do that type of thing. But at some point, the Earth ends, the gems, maybe they rebel and then they leave, they go off into the universe. They're not contained to a certain type of planet selection like humans are because they could theoretically survive on any terrain, and they make their own gem planet. Meanwhile, the remaining human survivors finds a hospitable planet for humans that is very similar to Earth. Maybe it's super far away, and they go there and they barely make it. Their ship crashes and they're left to start all over on this new Earth, which is very similar to our current Earth. I guess it has the same gems and stuff, which is maybe possible. Or we keep our memories of that, so we name them the same gems, the new metals that we find there, or the gems that we find there, and then human life, the human species starts all over on this new Earth, and this new and their technology progression resets. That's the key, though. At one point, humans were far enough along to create gems. They were that far off along technological wise, but once they get to this new planet, it's all gone. They had no time to bring anything with them, and they crash landed, and they can't replicate things. I don't know. Maybe their scientists weren't the one.
They don't have any resources on this.
They don't have the new resources.
They don't have laboratories.
They don't have this. They don't have the same resources, the same materials that they had on the other planet, I guess. And they also their scientists didn't make it. It could work. And so they're forced to start all over. This new Earth is the Earth we see in Steven Universe. This is an Earth which, at its basis, is filled with gem materials. Where's this quote from that I have on the outline? I'm not sure. From Steven Universe Wiki, maybe. Gem architecture can be seen scattered across the Earth in the form of the structures such as the Lunar Spire, Communications Hub, and Galaxy Warp. It's so maybe before the humans can get to this new planet, the gems come and build these things, or as the humans are contained to a very small part of the Earth because there's few of them and they're starting over, the gems interact with them in some way on this new planet.
What do you think? The gems are starting over, like they're starting their empire.
They're starting their empire, and then they eventually come to this planet and see the humans which created them. Maybe they remember that, maybe they don't. It's possible they also had difficulties in surviving the apocalypse on Earth. So maybe their numbers are small. On Earth 1. And now we're on the alternate Earth, Earth 2. This is the Earth where the humans now live, and it grows into what Steven is. The gems were there before the humans, they say, though. The crystal gems. How do you explain that?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. Wow, I mean, I think the gems can get to the new Earth before the humans do, you know? Maybe the gems rebel and leave. Set up their plan.
We just, like, spent a couple millennia just, like...
Just traveling, yeah. Like it's like the
Wall-E.
like Wall-E or the 100 or something like that. But the gems, or the gems could have just left, start their own planet, visit all the planets. They visit the Earth, they set up the Galaxy Warp and the hub and stuff like that. And then the humans are still on original Earth. The Earth ends, they go to this new planet, which gems have already been to. The crystal gems are already there. The gems are already trying to harvest new gems because maybe they're dying off somehow. But the gems figure out how to procreate among themselves, but it's not procreating, it's harvesting. They like set up a thing in the ground, and then I don't know how a computer in the ground is gonna like grow to be a new gem, but maybe. Well, okay, so they make a new computer, they put it in the ground, and needs time to make a projection, and maybe the projection's the thing that needs to grow. I'm not sure, but that's whatever, you know. This is I feel like the most interesting part is the alternate Earth, because I feel like it explains a lot. Primarily, why are the gems humans? Why do they have this naming scheme? Although, according to our theory,
why does this Earth look so weird?
And why is this Earth weird? Right?
Like floating platforms.
Why are there floating platforms and stuff? Why is Beach City so small? Are there as many humans on this new planet as ours? Is it just that it's a small town, or is maybe there's just not that many people there? You know,
why are there so many like fantastical elements in this new Earth?
Yeah, it's really weird because it's clearly supposed to be our planet, but it's this kind of fantasy version of our planet. And through the interaction of gems on the planet, I guess, it's made to be this. You could explain these fantasy elements by the fact that the gems visit Earth before us, but if the gems in the Steven Universe world visit Earth before us. It's not the same as our planet, but it doesn't have to be the same. It can be a parallel universe of our Earth. But if the gems were on Earth before humans existed, why are the gems humanoid? That's the big question, right?
It's a conundrum.
So, but I feel like our theory kind of explains that.
Kind of. We'll have to see about the harvesting.
Did I get everything right?
I think so.
I actually could see them doing this because humans creating this alien species is totally... it's totally a good plot line, and it's based in narrative historically. One of the biggest villain species of all time and the alien species of all time is the Daleks in Doctor Who. And in Doctor Who, the Daleks are created by a human, or is it a Time Lord? I'm actually not sure. I think
I don't know.
It's one of those. Anyway.
Wrong person.
Yeah, I feel like I should look that up as we're talking. I haven't watched Classic Who, so I'm not up on that. Anyway, I feel like why I like this twist is that it makes sense, and I could totally see it happening in the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could, well, maybe not ironically, but we can write off the ground computer stuff as rule of cool, or I don't know. Just as something maybe more trivial.
Well, I don't want to write anything as a rule of cool.
Well, that's you.
I want this all to be explainable in the show.
I don't know, or maybe they're just like organic computers, like what's the thing called with the wood and the thing? It starts with like an A.
What?
It's like a calculator, but with like wood.
Abacus?
Yes.
What about the abacus?
Maybe it's something like that, like some sort of like organic computing thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. The dogs were not created by a human, but Like the idea of this like evil person creating this entire, race of species. I could see the gems being based off of that. I don't know. To me, this works.
I mean, to me, it works too. I don't know. With all this gem harvesting stuff, we could be.
Well, I also feel like if getting into this and trying to explain everything, even with a theory that at its core is trying to explain everything and not being able to, also reveals how much of this show is not explained, right? We just know nothing about the gems. They don't really make sense. There's things about them that at their core don't make sense, so we don't know how they're born. We don't know the origin of their species. We don't know anything.
Well, maybe we will someday.
I guess, yes, let's end on that. When would we ever learn these type of fundamental questions about the show?
Season 7.
I was thinking season 27. Like, the show is moving so slowly.
I don't, if it's going to have a Simpsons type run, that'd be...
No, I mean, you can't see it going that long. I mean, Adventure Time's still going, so...
I mean, it hasn't even been 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, it has. It has been 5 years since it started.
I don't know. So it's...
started 2010.
And I wonder whether Rebecca Sugar thought of this in the show's inception or thought of this along the way, because I think
in the EW interview, didn't she say like she has like a whole?
She says she like has everything planned out. Yeah,
she has an itinerary of what's happening.
Yeah, but like to me, what you do when you make the show, if you're Rebecca Sugar, is you design the gems to be cool and they look like humans because we design things to look like ourselves. And then afterwards, you go ahead and try to explain that. So, I mean, that's, like, the only thing that would really make sense. It's not like you're going to...
not Rebecca Sugar.
It's not like from the outset you're going to say that you're going to try to understand why these are humanoid species. It just happens that way, and then you base your show mythology around your initial designs, probably, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with our explanation of that. Obviously, let us know what you think of this theory. I realize it's far-fetched, but at the same time, this is the best explanation to some of the biggest... contradictions, some of the biggest rule of cools and contradictions that the show has. So, point me to other theories if you have, I guess, but...
To sum up, human created gem.
Human created gem, and gem is...
Gem ran human off of Earth somehow.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Something happened.
Human finds other habitable planets.
Yeah.
Gem also finds this planet and uses it for their own gain.
Before the humans get there, and they also go to their home planet, which is not their original planet. Original Earth was their original planet.
And who knows what's happening with that right now.
Yeah, man, that would be really cool, though, if, like, at the series finale went back to original Earth or something. Like, I mean, I feel like the series finale is going to be on the Gem homeworld, but yeah.
We might even go there before then.
If we got out of Earth in seasons 2 and even season 3, I would be surprised.
I don't know.
I'd be, like, very surprised.
I didn't even know. Well, I assume most people didn't know that, like, a lot of the stuff was happening on Earth before, I guess, Pearl explained in Space Race.
Oh, yeah. When I was watching the show, I thought they were going all over the universe.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, I think that's how you're supposed to read it as you're watching.
But no.
Pearl explains it in Space Race. That's one, the first time.
I think so. It might have happened like a little bit before, but Space Race is the first time.
The experience of watching the show now and watching it in the beginning is just so different. Like we just know so much more now. In the beginning is just like it was so much rule of cool, just like an exploration of the universe, stuff like that.
Also, why can they hug?
Yeah, so how do the holograms have mass, and how do they produce tears, and I don't understand any of that.
They're organic robots. There you go.
Organic robots. I don't even know if that makes sense, but yeah.
There's a bunch of there's a bunch of oysters out on this alternate Earth place. No, not original Earth, and they're just harvesting robotic pearls and just
yeah.
Bunch of pearls, no oysters, you know what I mean?
Oh, wow, that was really deep. Bunch of pearls, no oysters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have your pearls and your oysters in like an even amount, you know? It's like how you balance life out, you know?
Chickens and eggs.
No.
No,
that's not at all.
Okay.
Pearls are like good things. Oysters are
You're being metaphorical.
I'm
okay. I'm not a inherently metaphorical person. Okay, but I feel like we're good. Good.
Sure. Hopefully we do not get laughed at by too many people.
Well, you can contact us about this at overlyanimated.com. Sam, where can we find you to yell at you about this theory?
I don't need you to yell at me. You can find me on Twitter at coolmcr, Tumblr, supernervous.tumblr.com.
And I'm Dylan OVA on Tumblr and Dylan_OVA on Twitter. You can find these links and more at overlyanimated.com. You can support us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, Nate, Beatrice, Cordell, Mitch, and Shayna, Nathan Fillion, Beatrix Exchange, Cordell University, Fever Mitch, and Hena. We had a great Patreon exclusive podcast earlier this week. It was very good. Sam was there.
We did a little bit of fine tuning on it.
We could fine tune it, but it was still fun. Talking in the Patreon exclusive Facebook group that you can gain these rewards and more by becoming a patron at patreon.com/overlyanimated for us. We need your support. And thanks for listening, guys. We'll get back to regular Steven Universe coverage when it comes back in September.
At some point
when it comes back.
Maybe.
Very mad at Cartoon Network for pulling
Cartoon
it.
Universe. Wow.
Cartoon Network for pulling it abruptly, and we might have a separate podcast on that. That's a different topic.
20-minute rant.
20-minute rant about I'm actually very mad. Nick, Disney, and Cartoon Network are all bad. Like, they're actually just all bad. So
hour and a half long podcast about the network.
There's no way to win. I mean, Nick's the worst, obviously, but there's no way to win with any of them. Anyway, last thoughts, Sam.
Yeah, gems.
Yeah, let us know what you thought of the theory, please. Feedback.
Emerald. I want to see Emerald.
Emerald, I feel like
yeah, you too, probably, because like birthstones.
Yeah, both of our birthstone. Yeah, that'd be cool to see an Emerald.
I hope that if we do ever see Emerald, that they're cool.
Cool Emerald, yeah.
Because I'd like to see a cool Emerald guy.
I agree.
Person.
I mean, we didn't even get into the
rock.
Gems lack sexual dimorphism. We didn't even get into that, which is also true.
We gotta get into that at some point.
I mean, yeah, basically gems don't have sex or gender. There you go. Okay. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.